Hello viewers, you're welcome. This is exclusive interview on EBC TV with Kawunda David. I'm very privileged to have today in the studio the ambassador of Japan to South Sudan, that is Kiya Masahiko, and I also have the head of UNITAR, none other than Mihoko. You're welcome to EBC studio.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
Yes. The United Nations Institute for Training and Research, UNITAR, is a principal training arm of the world that empowers individuals, governments, and also organizations through knowledge and learning to effectively overcome contemporary global issues, which South Sudan is not exceptional. What is this fellowship program all about, Ambassador?
Yes. Yes, this fellowship program is for the training of South Sudanese, which is in the post-conflict environment.
Yes.
Hiroshima, Japan, was devastated by war 70 years ago. But since then, it has made a tremendous development. It was for that reason that we invited UNITAR to establish the office. And we jointly started a training program over there.
Together?
We supported the training program, okay. And it is the UN, UNITAR, which is undertaking the training. But Hiroshima is the asset of Japan, okay. And the UN, United Nations, is making full use of the resources and heritage of Hiroshima for the benefit of the post-conflict environment.
Okay, let me go to the head of UNITAR, Ms. Mihoko. Can you just briefly give us the overview of this very interesting program?
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. This training program, we are very delighted that we kicked the first workshop yesterday, and today is day 2. But basically, this training program, it's a 5-month training program. The purpose of this training program is to equip the people of South Sudan with critical skills to build their own country. Basically, what we do is we train them how to develop project proposals, implement them, monitor and evaluate them effectively. But at the same time, we will also train them how to lead, leadership skills, also team building skills, and communication skills. So it's a comprehensive package critical for state building. In this 5 months period, we will have 3 workshops.
Yes.
First one in Juba, second one is going to be in Japan, Hiroshima, mainly. And the last workshop, we will come back to Juba.
So who are you targeting here? Are you targeting institutions? Are you targeting organized bodies, or you are targeting individuals?
Right. This year we are targeting 20 organizations. Out of 20, we are targeting 15 ministries.
Yes.
One person from 15 different ministries.
Could you give us some examples of these ministries?
Right. For example, we have one representative from the Ministry of Finance.
Yes.
Also, one representative from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, one person from the Ministry of Labor, Ministry of Gender, Ministry of Youth and Culture and Sports.
What about some of the NGOs that you are also targeting?
Right, we also invited representatives from 4 NGOs, such as ONAD and SIPO. And we also invited one representative from Juba City Council. So we have excellent future leaders of South Sudan from these 20 different organizations. So we are very excited.
Okay, and what do you aim to achieve by doing this kind of training, the 5 months training?
Right, we aim to achieve basically 3 things. Number one is, as I mentioned briefly, so these 20 participants at the end of the training, they will be able to develop, implement, and monitor and evaluate proposed projects very effectively, and also leadership, communication, team building skills.
Yes.
Those are especially important to become future leaders. That's number one. But number 2, which is critical, is, as Ambassador Kiya mentioned before, we are here to build so-called local national capacity. What happened to Hiroshima 70 years ago? Hiroshima was burned into ashes. But what happened was people of Hiroshima came together, they built their own nation.
Okay.
So through this training program, what we are doing is we are building the capacities of the people of South Sudan so they can come together and they can build their own nation based on their own needs.
You mentioned something to do with building leadership skills for future leaders. Could you tell us what age bracket are you targeting here?
Right. Age, I believe it varies from 25 to about 40.
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, we are targeting at civil servants who are like between junior to mid-level civil servants or NGO representatives.
All right, let me go to Ambassador Kiya.
Yes.
The government of Japan is funding this or helping or supporting this. Why are you interested in this kind of capacity building?
Yes. We thought of making full use of Japan's strength in contributing to the nation building of South Sudan.
Yes.
And one of the biggest assets of Japan is its experience of post-conflict reconstruction. We had internal conflict, as a matter of fact, when Japan opened its door to the outside world, to the West, in the late 19th century. Then we had a war until 1945. So we had we experienced two catastrophic conflicts in Japan. But after those two difficulties, we, as a non-Western country, learned a lot from the outside world, the West, the developed world, and made most of our own indigenous institution and culture, and combined the two and established good institutions and with good visions.
How do you think this kind of trainings will really help reconstruct South Sudan?
Yes, I think that Japan can contribute through UNITAR program in two ways. One is to provide a vision. I'm hoping that those 20 trainees will be invited to Japan, Hiroshima and Tokyo, be exposed to the narratives of what took place 70 years ago on one hand, and what they see at the moment, a tremendous development. And they get all the inspirations, and they compare such experience with their own experience back in South Sudan. And each of them will think about how South Sudan can develop itself toward the future. And that vision is one important thing. The other one is an institution. So I think they can make use of their positions in respective organizations, and they learn the skill and leadership to build the institutions.
Okay, back to you, Mihoko. Now let's look at the training itself. What are those training approaches, the unique training approaches that you have put in place to make sure that the skills you give to this youth will be transferred easily into action, and then to bring effectiveness and also service delivery to the beneficiaries? Right.
I mean, the unique approach we are bringing to this training program is, we call it participatory approach. So typically, many training programs people go to, they are lecture style. So they sit and listen, and they listen. But what we have found, because we are the organization that specializes in adult learning.
Yes.
What we have found is, for adults, that approach is not the most effective approach. But what is the most effective is when people start interacting and start doing something. So our approach is presentation. Listening part is very short, but majority of the time they actually have to apply So basically what it means is we give presentation, we ask the participants to actually apply it and start doing assignment. So by the end of this 5 months training program, they are expected to develop an actual, very robust project proposal that can be applied to their organization or their client that is ready to be submitted to potential donors.
Now let's look at the models. What are some of the models that you are offering in this training program? And do you think that the duration of 5 months is really enough to equip someone fully for very good potential that can be used vibrantly to change our society?
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you very much for the question. Well, models, we use so-called blended learning methodology. So, well, firstly, we organize 3 workshops. So that's face-to-face interaction. We provide lots of approaches, information about different methodologies, yes. And then they have to actually do assignment. And we have resource people who came from different countries. Some are based in South Sudan already, some are based in other African countries. So they really provide close mentoring and coaching, face-to-face interaction. But at the same time, after this first workshop is done, they go back to their work, but they have to keep working on their own proposal through online or through email or through telephone. We will continue mentoring and coaching approach. So we provide very like combination of many approaches, so they never get bored. Now, going back to your second question, is 5 months enough? Yes. We believe it's enough. We can say that because we are doing a very similar training program for Afghanistan, which is another country which is suffering from long-term conflict and violence. We have been providing this training program for Afghanistan for the past 11 years. We have trained more than 550 civil servants in the country. This training program, yes. It's 6 months, and we have seen really concrete, excellent results. Okay. So we are very confident.
All right, thank you. Let's have a break and we will be back. Thank you, viewer. You're still viewing EBC exclusive interview with Kawunda David, and we're having a short break. We will be back. Welcome back from that short break, and you're still watching exclusive interview on EBC with Kawunda David. With me in the studio, I have the Japan ambassador to South Sudan, that is His Excellency Kiya, with the head of UNITAR, that is Mrs. Mihoko. You're welcome back from that short break.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, back to you, Ambassador.
Yes.
You are supporting a very great project of capacity building, supporting UNITAR to build a capacity of civil servants and some staff professionals working with the NGOs. How long do you think you're going to do this kind of support?
Well, it's up to the performance and achievements of the first batch. We haven't decided yet. I'm working hard to have the second round go ahead. But we are now waiting for the outcome, and I hope that the next round will be approved, hopefully soon.
Okay. Now to Masahiko, back to you on the program. How often do you conduct these trainings? Is it once a year? Twice a year? So how often are you going to be conducting this training?
Right. For the government for South Sudan, we are having this training once a year, 5 months period. But at the same time, we run many other training programs. For example, we have this very similar training program for Afghanistan. That's also once a year. We are also undertaking an anti-corruption training program, which is targeting at 8 countries, African countries in the Sahel region. We also have multiple other training programs. So every year we run about 7-8 different training programs.
Okay. Now somebody will ask him or herself, what is the criteria of selecting these individuals that benefit from such a program?
Right. The criteria we used for these training programs, UNITAR South Sudan Fellowship Program, is initially we have identified 20 different organizations in close consultation with our partners. Now we have asked each organization to identify 3 top candidates, mid to junior to mid-level officials.
Yes.
And we let 3 of them compete for only one position.
So it is the NGOs that identify those staff?
Well, no. I mean, every organization. So we initially identified 20 organizations.
Yes.
And we asked each organization to identify 3 top candidates.
Yes.
Now, these 3
based
candidates.
on these 3 top, what or based on what?
Right. Well, UNITAR conducted interviews and also written, written test.
Okay, written test.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And based on the results, UNITAR Hiroshima office identified the best candidate. We also paid attention to gender equality.
Yes.
So that we select at least 25% of the participants to be women.
So in the 20 people that you're going to train, I mean, how many are female?
Right. Well, we are very good, very excited that we have 8 female participants.
Out of 20?
Out of 20.
Okay.
So we are very happy.
All right. Yeah, you didn't finish the criteria. That is with the NGOs. What about with the civil servants?
Same criteria. So we asked them to identify 3 top candidates. They went through interview, written test. UNITAR Hiroshima office did screening, and we selected the best candidate. So it was a competitive screening process.
Okay. And now looking at the training itself, how do you think this training will really transform the society in terms of the skills that will be attained and then being transferred into proficiency and competency in service delivery, being it in the civil service or in the government sector and also in the NGOs?
Well, I think transformation could happen in 2 ways. Number one is these fellows who receive these concrete skills, they go back to their own, back to work, their office. And of course, they have to develop proposals, implement, and monitor and evaluate projects. Through this, on a day-to-day work, they will be able to actually use the skills they acquired from the training program. That's number one. And number 2, which is actually very important, is that these 20 fellows came from all the different ministries. So after 5 months, they become like really close friends, almost like family, because they spend a lot of time together. So they have this horizontal network, which will become really valuable for them for many years to come. When something happens, they have friends in different ministries. They will be able to get their job done much more effectively.
Okay.
Yeah.
Back to you, Ambassador Kiya. You are really doing so great in supporting this program. What other programs are you supporting in terms of capacity building and strengthening institutions in South Sudan to ensure effective service delivery for productivity and transformation in South Sudan?
Yes, we are undertaking 3 major areas in the field of capacity building, in addition to one big support in infrastructure, that is Freedom Bridge, water supply, river port, big construction. As a matter of fact, that infrastructure building, that itself is also contributing to capacity building, because all the South Sudanese workers on site. They are being trained for 2 years, 3 years. So they can continue working to build further bridges and roads, and I think, so that's, I would say that, I can say that 4 areas.
Yes.
So the other 3 are agriculture. We think that this country is blessed with oil. By the way, Japan has no oil. We have Japan is half the size and 10 times the population. Very crowded. The only asset is human being, our people.
Yes.
That's why we believe in capacity building. With just people, we could flourish. We could achieve development ourselves. So we like to make it happen also in South Sudan. So one area is agriculture.
Yes.
This country has good land, water, and agriculture has a great potential. But it's not quite untapped. That's one area.
Okay. Now the country is going a transitional period. The compromised peace agreement
Yes.
has been signed, and people are looking into reconstruction and rebuilding of the nation. What examples should South Sudan learn from Japan in terms of reconstruction and rebuilding our nation?
Well, many ways. I think, thank you for this question. Japan can be an inspiration, I believe, because it suffered from this scourge of war. And we believe in peace. Peace is so important. We suffered a lot. So, but one important thing is the priority on security. Japan is one of the safest places in the world. I think the crime rate is very low indeed.
Yes.
When you leave something, it will come back. So that's why we feel the importance of security, and that's why we are extending support to the police. And I think that the first thing that South Sudan can implement is to enhance good security and have a good police, well-trained police. And Japan is ready to support the police sector.
Okay. Back to you, Ms. Mihoko. What message do you have to the citizens, to the government, to the NGOs in regards to this the fellowship program that you are running?
Right. Well, thank you very much for the question. There are many things I want to say, but,
Yes.
but firstly, we are very UNITAR Hiroshima office. It's our very first training program as UNITAR.
In South Sudan.
Yeah, to be in South Sudan. So this is my 3rd visit to Juba. We are very, very excited to be able to provide this training program for the people of South Sudan. That's number one. We are very happy to be here. And number 2 is when I arrived in Juba for the very first time, I'm trying to think, about 4 months ago, I really didn't know what Juba would look like. I was just imagining. And then when I arrived, it's beautiful. It's green and huge land, looks very fertile, very fertile.
Fertile indeed. Fertile indeed.
Very fertile, and I was jealous because I love gardening. So I was really captured by the beauty of this country, and the people are very kind, very, very, very nice. So I am a big fan of South Sudan. So
right.
We are very grateful to be able to be here. So that's the message.
Okay, Ambassador, your message?
Yes. Well, make good friend with among the trainees. I think I have my very personal experience of having a similar training program in Japan. I think it's across the ministries. and including some people from the private sector. I think altogether 40 people or so. And we after the training program, we established a study group, and initially we had a study meeting every month. So presentation by one after another in turn. And I continue till today. And nowadays it's just a few times a year, but it's still taking place. And so it's a very great asset. It is, well, I think as the country develops, one of the biggest challenges, maybe at the moment it may be the same now, the challenge of bureaucracy. So compartmentalization, communication across organizations and across the sectors and sections. So to share the same vision and aspiration and the belief that you can do something together. So I hope that the trainees together will share the same feeling and unite to transform South Sudan to become change agents.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, viewer. We have come to the end of this very exclusive interview on EBC TV with Kaunda David. And indeed, it has been a pleasure hosting you in the studio, Ambassador.
Nice meeting you.
Nice
Thank you
meeting
very much. Thank you.
All right. It has been a pleasure.